Welcome back to the Revamp Podcast. I did a little bit of a hiatus here. It's probably been about 3 months off. And great guest to come right back into it heavy, man. Michael Ho, real estate extraordinaire.
A little bit, maybe.
A little bit. So yeah, man, I want to get into the background. I want to hear about your journey. I want to hear about not only what you're doing now, but kind of how you got to where you're at today. You know, I think that's one of the coolest things about sitting down with people. It's like, it's really impressive to hear how people have come from sometimes similar, sometimes different backgrounds and parlayed that into what they do today. And I know today you're highly known for being a real estate mogul, right? Is that safe to say?
I don't know myself. I don't know if people see it, but you know, Instagram always portrays something differently. But
fair.
No, I mean, I born in New York. I moved down here. I went to Central High School for high school, and I went to Drexel I had like a full ride to Drexel for nursing, and I was like a horrible student. I like got kicked out the nursing program. I was like always into sales, like flipping sneakers and iPhones at the time. So I I'm more worried about what my mom thinks. I don't even care about myself as far as like, oh, what am I going to do with my life? I'm just like, fuck, I don't want to like get beat at home. You know what I mean?
Really?
And yeah, so I think my parents' approval had a lot to do with how I moved. You know what I mean? Like the trajectory that I went on and the decisions that I made, because it was always in fear of disappointment. Maybe it's like Asian household, I don't know. But I got into an internship at Drexel, like a co-op program, and I saw Berkshire Hathaway on there. And at the time, I knew someone that was an agent there, so I called him. I'm like, hey, can you just make up a bullshit position for me to float through 6 months? And he's like, yeah, sure. And he was working for Kirk.
Okay.
So I started, interning there. I met Kirk. I met my mentor, Dave Slapman. And then he pretty much started teaching me how to wholesale. And then before that 6 month period was up, I had my license. I'm back in class. I'm running comps. I'm like, not even.
You're in, baby.
Yeah, I'm gone. Like, I quit school the day I went into class, and it was a final exam. I didn't even know that it was a final exam.
No crap.
I guessed everything. I got like a 24 on a test, and I just like, it just wasn't for me. But I couldn't just like quit school because my parent gave me a hard time about it because I had a full ride. He's like, just 1 more year, just finish it, get your degree. I'm like, what am I going to do with my degree? You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, from there, it just started my wholesaling journey and being an agent. And
how long ago was that, by the way?
I'm 33 right now. I started when I was 20.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
About 13 years ago.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I think for me, the last 4 years have been pivotal. Before that, it was just like check-to-check wholesaling. Big checks, but still check-to-check.
Yeah, I get it.
You know what I mean?
I get it.
No money management, just crazy lifestyle. And, all learning lessons, though. I don't regret it.
Hell yeah.
But, yeah, and then now I'm just, I'm more of a developer now.
Okay.
And I have my license as an agent, and I'll help friends and family, but I don't actively look for listings and buyers to work with.
Right.
But I'm more still building systems now. And I think you're kind of in the same wave too, just from even the conversation that we had. So yeah, that's definitely the hard part of taking a pay cut to like build something that automates and scale,
Yeah, man. We'll definitely get into that. But I want to go back to that pivotal moment for you deciding to, stop traditional education, right? Leave college and then just like, because you mentioned with your parents kind of not approving. What was that? Was it like a weird, awkward conversation when you made that decision? Was it weird after?
So I didn't tell my mom I got kicked out until like maybe 4 years ago when everything was
no
like cool.
crap,
Yeah.
Really?
I just told her I didn't want to do it no more.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, I'm not in it. And she just kept pushing me in, but I told her no. And she's like, oh, well, real estate agent, your aunt's one, and she only closed one deal last year, and that's because we bought it from her. You know what I mean? Just the skepticism. Yeah. But that's just like Asian parents, though. They're more about security.
Yeah, I hear that very often.
Immigrants, actually, not just Asian parents.
Right.
So they're just obviously worried about my well-being, and wanting
Security.
what's best for me, and they're not risk takers at all. Play it safe. You know what I mean? So for me to do that, it just, I never had a problem with it. I think, you know what? Very thankful for them, because I think they shielded me from the rough reality that life doesn't always work out. But I always looked at it that way. Like I had cancer actually when I was 20.
Oh my God, really?
And even with cancer, I was still like, maybe not the first week, but after that, I was very optimistic, right? Like, hey, I'll be okay. I'm good. I'm not worried about it.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
What kind of cancer was it?
Testicular.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it's most prevalent between 21 and 30, but also the easiest cancer to cure.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You just pretty much have to cut the area that is, I guess, infected.
Infected. Okay.
Before it spreads to the lymph node system, and yeah, it gets in there. So I caught it pretty early, and thankful, because I was a nursing student. I knew how to like assess and feel for stuff, right? So without that, I don't know, if what it would have been like. So yeah, I mean, so what was your original question about?
Just kind of like that period of your life, like there's so much to dive into. And I like to go into that. Why did you kind of coming from being raised in a, I don't want to say traditional sense, but like a very, I guess traditional for lack of better word, right? Your parents want you to have security. They want you to go through the normal education system, get a safe job in the medical system, right? Like, why do you think you had that in you to be like, I have the courage to go out on my own and take this risk?
I don't think I did.
No?
I don't think I did. It was more so my best option at the time. Right, because I got denied from all the internship that I really tried to apply to. So I had to call someone and like, yo, can you just make up a position for me so I can float through 6 months?
Gotcha.
And then deal with whatever issues I'm dealing with then. So after that happened and I learned about wholesaling, and, obviously the first 6 months was just, I didn't close the deal until like after that. But when I learned about, oh shit, like.
But you saw some people doing deals and making money, right?
Yeah, I saw it, but I was also the I guess the sales guy, and I just made like a smaller cut.
Right.
But even that was significant to me.
It's proof of concept.
Right. So once I tasted the idea of not trading time for money, that's when it was like game over. Now I just gotta play smarter. You know what I mean?
Dude, I love that.
Yeah. So
it's like opening Pandora's box, man. Once you realize there's a whole nother world outside of what you thought reality was, it's like, it's really hard to go back.
Dude, I was the GTR, like the Nissan GTR was my favorite car in college. And my idea was, it's like 120K at the time. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to be a nurse. I'm going to make 65, 70K a year. I'm going to save up 2 years, and then I'm going to be able to buy the car. No idea about car financing and credit. It's just like my idea.
Or just finance in general.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, 65 times 2 is 130. I'll be, It's crazy just how ignorant. And that's like the school system fault.
Dude, it really is. Absolutely.
So bad.
Yeah, but we're not taught that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Not at all, man. That's cool, though. That's cool.
How about you, though? Like, for me, you popped up on my feed when you started like tagging, or like Lexi and Kirk and on all the deals with Prosperity. And then that's when I actually saw like you getting this building and changing it. So like, I've been following you, man. Like it's awesome to see for sure.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It's been about 10 years for me. I just realized in January, I filed my first LLC in January of, I guess, 2014, so 10 years in the business, baby.
What were you doing before this?
I was a quality control manager at a manufacturing company.
Okay, so you already had like management experience then. So
kind of, dude. Yeah. I still say to this day all the time, I am a terrible fucking manager. I'm a terrible manager. I'm a really good leader. I think I am a good boss. I'm a good leader. I'm a bad manager. But I think that's really common for a lot of entrepreneurial focused people, because to be good at management, you have to be system and process oriented. And I don't know, I also think that I'm too empathetic, and I let shit slide more than a manager probably should, right?
Bro, I feel like I'm like talking to myself. And that's why like I posted yesterday, like, yo, I'm done being a residential landlord. And one of my guys from New York texted me like, what do you know that you're not telling us? Like, why do you not want to be a landlord? I'm like, dude, just from you asking me this, I just realized I need to collect rent from this one property from this lady, and I haven't been pressuring her because she's older, and I'm like, that $1,200 isn't going to make a difference to me, but I feel like it might make a difference to her, so I'm more lenient on it. But
that's a terrible way to be.
Exactly. You can't operate like that.
Yeah, definitely not at scale.
Correct.
You know, at a very small amount, maybe. But yeah, man. So yeah, man. But so as you made that transition, you're in real estate now. What was that ramping up, scaling up period like? I know you said a lot has changed in the last 4 years, but let's fill that gap.
I think it was about being aware that I was delegating incorrectly. Like everyone talks about, you got to delegate, but there's a good way to delegate and there's a bad way to delegate. You know what I mean?
I absolutely know what you mean.
Yeah. And I just realized that the way I was delegating was like putting my standards on other people, expecting them to be able to do it the same way that I want it to be done.
Yep.
And getting upset when they don't, and just being so far removed from it. Like you just said it yourself, like as the CEO of a company, you should be implementing like new lanes for the company to grow. That's like the main goal, right? To increase like sales, just to make the team strong.
Yep.
The manager is the one that micromanages everyone and makes sure, hey, everything is working.
Everything's getting done the way it's supposed to.
As the owner, you shouldn't be so it doesn't. You don't need good management skills. You should just talk to your one guy, and he should be the one that does everything. But I feel like the other problem is the reason why people can't find good managers is because they don't pay them enough. You know, they're essentially your partner in the business now. So like you got to make sure they're happy, you know, otherwise they're not going to be motivated. So that was the biggest change for me. I had to basically hire someone that handled all my back end stuff. And I didn't even realize how messy and bad it was. And I was still doing my own contract up until like 2-3 years ago, like being late on my insurance payments because some insurance company doesn't do auto pay. It's just like a mess, nuts, bro.
But
like,
I get it.
It's still a mess, but it's like getting out of
controlled
it.
Chaos. Controlled chaos.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so funny because that was the thing for me, right? Like I thrive. I don't just like operate good in chaos. I fucking thrive in chaos, you know? But most normal people in the world aren't like that, right? Like I can totally operate with no schedule, not knowing what I'm going to do today and still be incredibly productive and get a lot of stuff done with no systems, no process, no nothing. But you can't build a business that way. So when I started ramping up like my wholesale company 5-6 years ago, I'm bad at timelines. It might've been 7 years ago. I don't know. I knew that I had to systematize everything. And dude, that was the most painful point in my life because it's like, okay, I got to set up a CRM. I have to have a system and a process for every single thing that we do. And in the back of my mind, it's like, you kind of brought this up earlier. It's slowing down to speed up. It's like, I could just do what I know how to do and make a lot of money and not do any of this crap. But I'm also going to be stuck at, you know, this metaphorical glass ceiling. So instead, I had to spend 9 to 12 months doing a bunch of shit that I hated. I dreaded it, man. Setting processes and writing them out and everything. So I could bring people in, put them in that role, and they have the ability to be successful because we have a proven way of doing it again and again and again, you know? But it sucked.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I think for me, we're in such a low barrier to entry business that when it comes to training people to wholesale, what stops them from leaving you and doing their own thing? And that's like kind of like the biggest thing, right? Like I know so many people who used to work for them and now they're doing it on their own. And I'm like, well, how do you prevent that? And it's really more about making it a situation where everyone is happy. And not everyone's always going to be happy, but it's more about the pay cuts, right? Because, you know, you hire these sales guys and you're paying them maybe base plus 10% of the assignment. And it's good the first year and they're making over $100,000. But then when they realize, I could have been making an extra 300 and they get greedy and and they try to do it themselves, and then that's when they, you know what I mean? It just, it's
Well,
hard.
it's funny, dude. Like I see so much of a correlation between that with training sales guys correlating to like construction, right? Because it's so common in construction too. A guy that does an apprenticeship under a GC company, whatever. It could be any of the trades, doesn't matter. But he's with them for 2-3 years and he's like, oh man, I'm only getting 10% of what my boss charged for this job. And I'm the one here doing all the work. Then he goes out, he starts his own thing, and then he realizes, and it's the same thing with sales, right? The guy that was doing that specialty task realizes, well, if I start my own thing, I'm not even doing that task anymore, right? Because now I'm the marketing guy, I'm the sales guy, I'm the finance guy, I'm the scheduler, I'm the bill collector, right? All of these different things that they didn't even know existed, right? Because they were in their lane. They had their specialty and they were focused. And now they kind of opened up a can of worms. And I've seen, especially in construction, like so many guys do that and go out on their own and they're like, fuck, man. And they fold pretty quickly because they were really good at building.
Yeah.
They weren't really good at running a business or doing marketing or doing sales. Yep. It's the same thing with training salespeople that decide they're going to go out on their own. It's like, you didn't see all the other stuff that was happening in the business and all the stuff that I had to learn and do and go through to build this company to where it is today, where I had the ability to bring you in, you know?
It's almost for every business, right? Just because you know how to cook doesn't mean you're going to have a good restaurant.
That's right.
Or if you know how to do nails doesn't mean that you're going to be able to run a nail salon effectively. And he's my partner now, but his name is Alan. He is the one who handled all the camera and editing for me.
Okay.
And we met maybe less than a year ago. And I wanted him to go through what you just mentioned because I didn't want to just tell him that and have him take my word for it. Like, I want you to feel the loss and feel all the stuff that you have to feel because every business that came in or every lead that came in for the media company, I would just give it to him without trying to take a cut or without even trying to manage it. Just I'm like, yo, that's you. Keep yourself busy.
Yep.
And now he's at the point where he's too busy. But he's doing everything himself, right? He's shooting, he's editing, he's like client management, invoicing, like all that. And he's like backed up right now.
It's a lot.
And now you're capped also because you're backed up. Now your quality of work goes down and it just starts to unravel. So he's like talking to me. I'm like, yo, I'm glad we're finally having this conversation. Now it's time for
You're
me
going to get it. Yeah.
Now I can step back in without you ever feeling some type of way because now you know that you can't do it by yourself.
Yep.
And I can't do it by myself. That's why
nobody can.
Right.
That's right.
So now we're like, we have a couple people lined up for hiring. We have the office space that it's on. I won't say where it is, but it's in the city, right?
All good.
I'm hoping to have a cool setup like this so that we don't have to like set up every time. People can just come in and I can just have like a content station for people to make content, and just have it a lot easier that way. So,
dude, I love it. So bridge that gap for me. We started talking about it a little bit before starting the cameras and everything, but how did a media company come out of this whole real estate machine also?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I got one of the biggest changes I think for me was hanging out with my buddy, or I guess my partner, who runs the restaurant business that I'm a part of called Chubby Cattle. I think they recently raised at a $500 million valuation. So they're like monsters. And I've seen this grow from one restaurant to 2, 3, 4 to having it's called X-Pot in Vegas. They're in a Venetian hotel lobby. And then from there, they got exposed to more mentors and stuff. And then now they have like 50 plus locations. They're opening 3 in Japan. Like they're going crazy right now.
Everywhere.
And me seeing him and how he did it, it just kind of made me realize I could do it too.
It opens your eyes. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So, and the way he had his business structured was just having a vertical integration of everything, right? So I'm in the development side. I do construction. I'm like, cool. So at some point, I'm going to need to have a interest or equity ownership in the material side. Then I got to have it in the insurance side, title side, broker side, lending side, and then, the marketing side. And I think the marketing side is kind of like the one that scaled it all. And then I'm thinking, okay, cool. Let's just say I have a marketing team that's running ads for 6 of these different businesses. They're all the same leads, essentially, right? So, you know, let's just say for an investor, right?
Yep.
If they're all the same leads, then anytime a lead comes in for this business, then that lead can be recycled to the other 4 businesses.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of like, all right, so this is the most important part. And I realized very early on that people don't really give a fuck about who you are and what you have to say unless you are somebody. So
and you can provide value in some way. Yeah.
Even like now, like for us to post right now, I don't think it's at the point where I want it to be yet. Like no one's going to care. People that knows us are going to care, but like to the outside people, they might just skip over it pretty quickly.
What's in it for me?
Right.
Which is fine.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with that too. But I know I just have to continue building a brand to the point where people will start to care. And then that's when I can really leverage who I am to get more deals done. I feel like I'm already doing that, but at a maybe a nationwide scale, you know? So from there, I'm like, all right, cool. I try to get my own camera, then my own podcast and do it myself. Didn't work. Too much work and not enough. There's no ROI in it.
Yep.
And then I just kind of took a gamble with Alan to have him like work with me exclusively. And then I paid him on a retainer, and then it kind of just like went from there, you know? So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the vision though is like have a media team in-house so you can increase your personal brand and your business's reach and everything, but then also bring in outside clients as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have, like I sent 3 proposals this week already, and we started off with restaurants because that's like a niche that we're already in, but it's tough, right? Because how much would a business really pay for social media marketing and content, especially when there's no immediate ROI on it?
Yep.
And if I'm charging $2,500, which is like barely covering costs, and I'm not making anything, that's almost like half or even the rent that some restaurants pay.
Yep.
So they can't, and they're older, and they don't get that it's important. So it's so hard to sell them on it. So I'm like, you know what? I'd rather not look like a scam artist and get someone involved. I'd rather just work with, I guess, either younger people or people that I'm more niched with, like contractors, so to say. But still, same issue. It's just the price point being too high.
Yep.
So we kind of just readjusted now that we have a cheaper package, like a $500 a month package, which is very limited on deliverables.
Yep.
We see you one time, but we'll plan it. We'll shoot maybe 5 or 6 videos from that one day that we spend with you. And that will be your deliverables for the month. You're in charge of scheduling your own posts and coming up with your own captions and stuff. But at least now you have some sort of online presence.
You're in it. You're
Right.
in it. Yep.
Right.
I like that.
And then from there, if they want to up it a la carte to the point where, hey, you're spending so much, you might as well just upgrade the package.
Yep.
And we have like people that full-time enough now where I don't really have to be involved anymore. I oversee it just because I feel like I have a better vision for how some videos should be.
Yep.
But as far as like scheduling the shoot and editing and stuff, it's like I step away from that
hands
now.
off. Yeah, I get it, man. It's funny because, again, we were talking before we started rolling, and it's like, yeah, I have this space, and I rent it out to other people and everything. And if you're watching this, I might not rent it to you. But, like, legitimately, you know, it's like I started doing it because it was a vertical that we already had, and I was kind of just shooting for other friends and stuff like that because we had the team for it. We had the content management all built out and everything. And it's like, yeah, we don't make a whole bunch of money on it and everything. So now I'm questioning if we even want to do it at all. But it's like so funny to me because in the wholesale business, the entire business is marketing and sales, right? And that kind of, there's some benefits to it and also some drawbacks, right? Like I think my own personal like relationship with marketing spend is, I don't know. It's weird. Like not a lot of other businesses, especially at the, call it 1 to 5 million in revenue, spend as much as we do on marketing, right? It's like, yeah, man, there were months where I would spend $50,000, $60,000 in marketing to do 150, 200,000 bucks, right? And it's like, that's normal to me. You talk to other people that, a restaurant industry or something like that, they may do 2 million a year. They may do 5 million a year, but their marketing spend is like you said, maybe 500 bucks a month. And that's if they're aggressive and really trying to grow. So it's different, like psychologically accepting that spending money will yield you an ROI if done intelligently.
Yeah, I think it's also like a shift though. I think within the last 10 years, it just went crazy on the online stuff. Even why like courses and people are selling so much stuff online now, because it's like so accessible now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of why restaurants haven't just come around to it yet.
Yep.
Because they were doing well before it, and now sales are slowly dwindling down, and they don't understand why. Or maybe it's not. Maybe some of them, they don't. I mean, if you really have a good product, you don't need marketing that much.
Fair.
Right?
Fair.
But not every single restaurant is at that level. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So some of the marketing stuff that you kind of started with, right? Back to wholesale and everything, like what were you doing?
I moved to Point Breeze before it was Point Breeze. And I paid these guys to do door hangers.
Okay.
I did some cold calling myself. I was the one that was driving for dollars. And then I eventually moved to postcards, which got too saturated. And then around that time, that's when it got like crazy saturated. That's when all these gurus were teaching classes on how to wholesale, and you had all these beginners coming in and offering dumb numbers to sellers that I couldn't compete with, and they get locked up, and I had to follow back up with them in 6 months. And yeah, so I kind of like slowed down then, and that's when I started changing into the flipping game.
Got it.
Yeah, and then that came with its own headaches, that I'm sure that you can relate to.
Flipping's easy.
Yeah. I think the most I ever spent monthly was probably like maybe like 30 grand.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot though, man. That's a big budget. And it's like, I also hate throwing around big numbers because guys that are kind of just starting, it seems like unattainable. And it's like, no, you can do real damage. Like, spending $2,000 a month, like you can bring in a lot of deals, a lot of revenue with $2,000 a month. But the trade-off is usually, like you mentioned, it's like, okay, well, maybe if my budget is $2,000 a month or less, maybe I have to do some of my own cold calling. Maybe I have to drive for dollars. That's cool, man. That's totally cool. Like I know guys that are probably doing 30, 40, 50 grand a month, every month in revenue that aren't spending more than 5,000 bucks, right?
Yeah.
Like it just depends what you have at your disposal and your knowledge and expertise and connections and all these other things, right? Remind me before you go, I got to show you some of our mail equipment. I'm a big direct mail guy, and we got some equipment here.
Oh no, that's one of the things that I had to. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely,
right,
man.
That'll be good.
So that transition from, okay, and you were primarily marketing in Philly or?
Yeah, just in Philly.
Just in Philly,
yeah.
Okay.
I didn't start playing into the burbs until maybe 3 years ago.
Okay, Gotcha. I remember going to houses in Philly and, you walk in the front door and there's just a pile of 200 postcards like right on the ground because there's the mail slot in the door.
You can't even open the door all the way.
Oh my God, man.
I'm like, I'll ask them like, what made you pick my card? And then,
I know.
Yeah, so that's crazy.
I love that.
Yeah.
So kind of saturated. You started flipping as a result of that.
Mm-hmm.
So what was that like? What was your first flip like?
So my dad's a contractor. So I got lucky with that part.
We really are talking to the same person, because me too.
Yeah. So he it was a subject to 4720 Wellington Street. I bought it maybe $20K out of pocket after all the fees that's associated with subject to and giving the owner the down payment money. My dad did the rehab. When you do your first project, especially, it doesn't matter where it is. You're always going to have that pride of, hey, I want to design this. I want to do this. I want to make it look amazing. And the area doesn't call for it.
Yep.
Right? But you just want to because it's...
man, you're speaking to my soul.
Exactly, yeah. It's just
I still struggle with it,
man. Yeah. No, me too. But to the beginner, at least, they're always trying to go interior designing because they're so filled with optimism and hope and not saying you shouldn't be, but there's a limit to it. And I made it really, really nice. And I think after selling it, I cleared maybe 10 on it.
Okay.
Which I had to split with my aunt who funded the money to the flip at the time. And that's when it was like, God damn, dude, like I only made $5,000 on it. And that's when reality kind of sat in and, oh, this closing costs? Oh shit, there's this, there's that. Like, oh, I got to pay taxes on that. And then it just kind of ruined the dream for me of like making so much money on flips. But because I was wholesaling, I got to cherry pick, right? Like whenever a deal made sense. And then I learned about hard money. And then I started buying houses for like under 10 grand out of pocket. And then we started doing the BRRRR method. And then that part, once I realized that, and I started like having a name for myself on social media already, just with my immediate network, I started raising capital. And I'm like buying 5, 6, we had like 10 houses at one point with my old partner. And it was just mismanaged. And we just went too fast. We didn't really have like, we had subs that weren't that reliable. And we were working on all of them at the same time. So when the first one finished and we realized there was a problem with the first one, we didn't even like, okay, so all the other ones that we were working on have problems now too. And that's kind of when, it kind of snowballed into a headache. And around that time was when the Ukraine and Russia war happened and the interest shot up.
Got it.
Because they were like at 3.5, 3.75 before for a DSCR.
Yep.
And once that happened, the value tanked, and I think I took like a $500,000 loss that year, which I think. So
those were all flips, or they were intended to be rentals, long-term holds?
They were all flips.
All flips. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. They were all flips. Actually, no. Maybe some of them we were gonna keep, whatever. But then once I got into that landlord process, I didn't even want to be a landlord anymore. I'm like, it was just the dopamine hit of like buying and doing a deal, but I don't care about $300 a month cash flow. Like not with the headache that it comes with, right? Every time it rains, I'm like trying to turn my phone off because I don't want my tenants to call me. So yeah, that's why I don't want to be a landlord anymore. But for some people, it's good, right?
Yeah.
Some people with 9 to 5 and you have money that's in your bank account doing nothing, then yeah, park it in a house, park it in a real estate property that you can cash flow on and get a better return on. But for someone who's actively trying to make money with money, rental is not the way.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree. I tell people that all the time, like, because I see guys that their entire business model is my full-time gig that I'm doing is buying rentals and scaling that up and everything. It's like, that's really hard to do, man. Like, it's a good investment strategy. It's a good tax shelter and everything. It's not good for active earned income. And you kind of need to have all of it. Right? If you want to build wealth, yes, rentals are a great way. But like the best strategy is have some form of a cash printing fucking machine and then go buy your rentals with your other business or other venture that's incredibly profitable. So you're not worried about like living off of that $300, $400 a month worth of cash flow, because guess what? One eviction, your cash flow is wiped out for 2 years, dude. Like, and you were banking on that.
But like all the people that are being sold this financial dream of passive income and waking up to, sleeping and making money, they're all like a certain demographic, right? They're dreamers, let's say. And those are people who probably make less than $100,000 a year. And the idea of having $500 to $600 a month as active cash flow is amazing now, right? Because it's like, holy shit, like that's like quarter of my paycheck.
I only need 10 of them and I can replace my job.
I used to think like that.
Yeah, dude, me too. Everybody started that way, of course.
And so now they're like, all right, cool, let me get into it without understanding all the headaches that come with it. And they don't have a reserve, or like you said, they don't have the cash flow from their main business to sustain it.
Yeah.
Right? This is something that you do with money that you don't know what to do with, not money that you have to over leverage yourself to get.
That's right.
So that's the biggest problem that I see. I think that's really what fucked up or has a big reason of why Philadelphia market tanked, because it just became so many wholesalers selling bad deals to new buyers that you didn't know how to renovate the property correctly. So now you have like a rehabbed home that looks great on the MLS sitting on it, but shoddy work and no one wants to buy it. The hard money lender can't collect because they can't, you know what I mean? Like it's just a whole fucking shit show, along with the squatters and all the other bullshit in Philadelphia, making it hard to evict, and it's just like a fucking shit show right now.
Yep.
But I think it's climbing back. So we'll see how that goes.
I agree, man. Yeah. I agree. So tell me more about like kind of ramping up on the construction side and doing more flips and everything. Like what was that like?
I think I started off with a flip in Glenside that my partner, Josh, he's like my agent. Even though I'm an agent, he's my agent.
I get it.
He brought it to me, and I was hesitant to work with him at first because it's like this short-sighted mindset of like, I'm an agent. Why would I give it to you? You know what I mean? But he was like, yo, don't even pay me, bro. Just, think of me for the next deal. And that meant a lot to me because that's something that I would do for other people.
Yep.
Right? And that's like, all right, you're not greedy or you're not going to be like blinded by money. So I started to build a relationship with him to the point where I'm like, yeah, just list all my shit.
I love it.
And once that happened, I started dabbling more into the Bucks market and Montgomery County, and I already had capital to play with, so I just started doing a flip, and then I have like 20 active projects right now. I think my interest payments a month are like $70K plus. It's fucking brutal.
Yep.
And I haven't had a house sold in 2 months actually, so it's been messy. But from there, I mean, I'm still dealing with problems right now. Just having GC that I put too much trust in. And working backwards on project, maybe because I didn't want to pull permits on it, is still stuff that I'm dealing with. But I just hired my first day rate guy, salary from my company. And I was always scared to do that because I'm like, fuck, I don't want to ruin this guy's life if I can't keep up with it. Then I never looked at my books though, right? So when I had my partner that I hired to take care of all my back end stuff, he's like, dude, this is how much you're paying to the GCs right now. I'm like, dude, I could easily afford 3 or 4 of these guys.
Right.
And then I look at the money that I'm losing. I'm looking at the money that I'm losing on interest for houses that are just sitting there.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, I could just, you know what I mean? Like now I'm like understanding the value of money of where I can hire someone and how much would get done if I did it that way, So, yeah, so now because I'm doing that, it's more about systems and processes now. I just downloaded this app called Company Cam. You guys should sponsor me if they see the video. And I'm like, I didn't even like add everything to it yet, but let me see, how do I have
just
a meeting
kind of a way to keep everything organized and photos of different projects that are going on and everything.
Yeah, I just added everything to it, videos and everything. But the problem is, how do I get my guys to use it now?
Right. Yep.
So I have a training with the actual company rep today, and then I'm going to train all the guys to use it. But it's been good so far.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then now I'm trying to automate the lead side, which I reached out to you originally for. And then you got a machine up there that you're going to talk to me about, which might
talk
be
about
something
that.
else. So, yeah.
Going to talk about that. But I want to highlight something you said. Like you mentioned, I was scared to bring a guy in that's like on payroll because if I'm not able to kind of keep him busy, I don't want to fuck him up. That's also the number one reason that you should do it because, right? Like most bosses don't look at things like that. They don't have that empathy. They do care only about like the bottom line and everything. The fact that you do care and you had the foresight to think about that in the first place means, you're going to be a great business leader in any freaking thing that you do. And, I don't know, I just felt that was worth highlighting because a lot of people do think that same way and feel that same way. Like I want to hire somebody, but in case things don't work out, I don't want to be dragging somebody else down with me. But I would argue that anybody that has that thought in the back of their mind is the perfect person to be in a leadership role. And you're probably not talking about you or me specifically, but anybody that has that, as soon as the problems arise, you're the motherfucker that's going to run straight through that brick wall,
Yeah.
Like I know for me, man, like having employees, there were plenty of times where it's like, if I was just a solopreneur, I would have kind of rocked back on my heels a lot of times, but I have that same feeling, right? And it's like, I got to keep the engine going. I got to keep money coming in the door because all these other mouths and their families depend on me as well.
Yeah.
It keeps momentum.
Yeah. The guy that I hired, shout out to Nick. He's like, I think he's a year younger than me, right? And the reason why I even took that gamble, I guess, I mean, I already love it. Like he gave it 2 weeks yesterday. I'm like, bro, like, all right, that's cool. I respect that. March 10th, we're on, right? And he works for someone full time. And after that, he gets off at like 3 or 3:30. Then he comes and grinds at my house at like 4 to like 9, dude.
I love it.
And I spoke with him. He's like, dude, he has a kid that's the same age as my kid. I'm like, bro, like, do you even see him? He's like, nah, I don't. Like, when I get home, he's sleeping. When I leave, he's sleeping. I'm like, bro, I can't do that for you. Like, it fucks me up thinking about it because I cherish, like, I don't see my son as much as I'd like to. And you don't get to see him at all. And I'm like, this is like the phase. Like, this is you're never going to get this age back. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You're going to know your kids more as adults in your lifetime than as when they were babies. This is it.
Yep.
So I'm like, fuck it, bro. We'll do it full time. We'll just do this. I'll give you what you wanted. You know, we'll do your cutoff times at 6, right? And then you just make sure you go home and do that. And he normally works Sunday. I'm like, nope, you're taking Sundays off. And I think he's happy with it. I just got to make sure I keep him busy. But once I started exploring avenues of I got to make sure he's busy, now it's like, fuck, I need like 3 or 4 more guys. Because it's so much more lanes just opened up. So I'm like, all right. Now I'm on like a hiring spree right now.
Dude,
for
I
like
love it.
reliable guys that are strong in communication via tech.
I love it. And another weirdly strange similarity. I have one guy on payroll for me, and his name is also Nick. This is weird, bro. This is getting weird. That's hilarious.
The white version of me.
I love it, man. So, so what are some of the other cool big things that you got going on that you're working on right now?
All right. So yesterday, my boy, who's a client of mine, he started off, his younger brother dated my cousin's cousin. That's how we knew each other. And he moved to Philly like 15 years ago. He used me as a realtor. Then he wanted to get into flipping, got him some flips. And we just been doing business on and off for like the last 15 years. But now more. So we just bought a lot in Huntington Valley together. So we're going to do a new development there. But he called me yesterday. He was like, yo, Mike, I just got exclusive right to sell this viral ice cream. I don't want to say anything yet because nothing's like done. But can you help me move this? And I'm like, fuck yeah, I can. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all right, well, I know the guy that runs GoPuff. I can just fucking put it on there, and then that's it. Like, that's like, I don't know how many sales that is. And then I could put it in this market. Like, I have like all the avenues already, I guess, like distribution channels, so to say. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's like a huge play right there that I have nothing or like experience in. Then I called my guy in New York, and he had the same thing set up. So I'm like pretty excited about that.
Dude, that's awesome.
I just went to the tile shop the other day to negotiate tiles for my client, and I ended up busting it up with the managers there so well that mid-conversation, they had a meeting with their regional guy, and they're like, yo, fuck it, join the meeting.
No way. Yeah. That's cool.
And then the next day we did it on Zoom with somebody else because the regional guy was like, yo, you need to talk to someone else. And I felt like, see, that's like what gives me my dopamine hit, I think. The ability to make, or for me, someone like me, because I don't see myself in the same light that everyone else does, but to be able to take it that far, you know what I mean? But it's really just a people thing, right? Just about understanding their needs and what's important to them. And
elaborate on that. What do you mean? Like,
okay,
just being a great connector is the way that I'm interpreting that?
I think the way I approach everything is that in our relationship, you're going to get more value than me.
Okay.
Right?
I get what you mean.
Yeah. Like, I'm always going to give more than I can get. And I'm okay with that because I don't mind. I like giving, right?
Yep.
So because I approach it that way, now it's like, who would want to burn a bridge with me?
Yep.
When you're winning, you're more of the winner in the situation.
Yep.
So with the tile stores, I'm talking to them. I'm understanding how their commission work and how the sales work and who their niche demographic is. And they're 40% retail, 60% pro, but there's no program to help the pro. And the retail is only foot traffic, and there's no, social media. Like, there's nothing, like, it's just there. You get what I mean? And so I gave them a lot of ideas and stuff that we're going to do together. And essentially, I'm kind of like a sales guy there without ever having to be there now. And I can just put my order through there and send my guys there, and it'll be actual decent price that, you know what I mean, that is comparable to, I guess, Home Depot or Lowe's. I try to do it at Floor and Decor because that's where I really buy my tiles, but they're too corporate there. I can't get to anyone. Yeah, they do no discount. They just give you the bullshit reward point that I can redeem at a gas station or something. And but their price isn't unreasonable to begin with, which is I get.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, with so much AI and systems and robots and fucking automated chat boxes nowadays, it's like the key in any successful transaction, I feel like, is the personal connection relationship side of it.
Dude.
Right?
Yes.
So
I say it all the time.
Yeah. So now that it's coming back up and that's like my strength, I'm like offering these stuff and they're happy, I'm happy. And now it's like, all right, cool, let's just start banging stuff out. And I spent like more than 25 grand at the store there already, just in the last 2 weeks. So they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, they're loving you.
Our monthly is like, 100, you know what I mean? So just like, it's kind of like eye-opening for them. But for me, it's like, I love it because now I get to leverage like such a big brand and work with them so closely that it's a win for everyone.
Dude, that's huge.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And it's very apparent with you that kind of transfers into anything that you work on and anything that you do. And, I like to look at it as that's a real foundation point of success. It's just kind of the way that you approach everything. It's not necessarily what you do, but it's how you do the things that you do.
Mindset.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's huge. So because I am curious, like with, you said like 20 rehabs going on. That's fucking crazy and chaotic. I never had 20 going on. I think at the height of everything, 5-6 years ago when I was flipping more houses, I had maybe 11 going on at the same time, maybe 12 if you add in, shit that's pending. But what's managing that like? Do you have project managers in place? I know you said your dad was a GC. Is he kind of handling some of that, or what's that like?
No, my dad is. I don't like if I put him in my rehab projects, I would never hear the end of it. You know what I mean? Because he's so, this is that. Like he had, like, you know what I mean? He's like my dad, so I can't even tell him, hey dad, I don't want this color. I want this color. He's like, no, this color's better.
Gotcha.
What am I gonna do? So he's helping me with a retail project right now. It's gonna be my first one, which is I'm gonna leverage that video that I'm gonna do for that to do the retail client with home like remodeled and kitchen and bathroom with the tile shop. But I have a main crew that I use that kind of does everything, and I gave them too much to the point where they're in that growth period too of their back is against the wall, and I'm okay with that because I know that that relationship, no matter what, like we're growing together right now.
Yep.
They're taking loss there, I'm taking loss here. It is what it is. But because I have to keep it going, and I have all these other projects that might not even be mine or I'm partnered with or whatever. I have I have Nick that's handling 2 for me right now. I have this guy Kendrick that I'm like building a relationship with, and he's doing like 3 of them for me. So I think it's more about just having guys that I can communicate with and trust to do the project. But it's easier for me now because they want to work with me more than I want to work. Not more than I want to work with them, but I understand. Built a brand on Instagram at least where it looks like I'm someone that is actively busy.
Yep.
So I don't have to sell myself anymore, so to say. They're kind of selling themselves.
They're coming to you.
Me. Right.
Yep.
So even the guy Kendrick, he's like doing these 3 projects for me at cost just to show me like how he's doing everything. I'm like, bro, you're fucking running around material. I'm like, bro, here, like pay yourself.
Yeah. You got to make money. You got to make money. Yeah.
I want you to make money, right? Otherwise, you're not going to want to do shit anymore.
Yep.
Because I'm sending you 3 other shit, and like you're not going to do them all for free, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's just about. I think I'm learning how to delegate better now. That's all it is.
I get it. I totally get it. I just made a post on social media this week, last week, whatever. But it was basically about, you mentioned earlier, like, oh, well, I'm still dealing with shit right now. I'm still getting punched in the face right now. And it's like, I think a lot of people believe that once I get to a certain level, once I'm doing 20 houses, once I have 50 rentals, whatever the number is, whatever goal we're talking about, then everything's going to be smooth sailing, right? The metaphorical, like you said, I'm going to be at that cash flow number and I'm just going to collect money every month and everything's going to be easy and it's just going to be on autopilot. I'm going to sit on a fucking beach and just collect checks. And that never happens, dude. That never happens, you know, like whatever level you get to, you know, you could be doing 100 rehabs right now. And yeah, there's going to be more money in the bank, more cash flow, but also more problems. The problems never fucking go away. Like, and I think a mental shift that somebody has to make is being accepting of that. Cause it's like, if you're thinking that everything's going to be sunshine and rainbows, once I get to this point, you're going to be really, really let down when you never stop getting punched in the face.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it gets easier only because the person that you are now versus the person that you're going to be when you're at that 20 active project, it's going to be two completely different person.
For sure.
Your character gets built up. It's like if I had to make a fucking metaphoric example, it would be someone that knows how to bench press. And you can bench press 90 pounds no problem right now. So you understand how to bench press and the form on how to do it, but you can't bench press 400.
Yep.
You're not built for that yet. You haven't like gotten to that point yet. And I think for someone who's like going from 1 to 20 project, it's just about like building the tolerance, the patience, the mindset to be able to handle 20 problems. Mm-hmm. 20 problems doesn't go away. It just gets easier to handle because you're just fucking numb to it now.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, my house got broken into yesterday for the plumbing that got stolen, and for me, it's like, all right, whatever. You know, I'm more worried about like my other problems.
Yep.
So you just get numb to it, and a lot of people reached out too, like, yo, fuck, man, I'm so sorry, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, damn, like if only you knew. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep. It's funny because I share a lot of the bad shit on social media also, because like a lot of people only like sharing the highlight reel. I like sharing some of the bad shit, you know? And same thing, people that reach out, they're like, oh man, you good? I'm sorry that happened. I'm like, no, believe me, I'm good. I'm good. Everything's cool. It's just I'm sharing the flip side of what sometimes people don't get to see, you know?
Yeah.
It's not all sunshine and rainbows, but it's cool, man. It's cool.
I mean, they'll get there, right? It's a learning process. They just all have to go through that, that phase of getting punched in the face. Yeah.
Exactly, man. Exactly. So what's next for you?
I don't know, man. I really don't know. I think I'm more so, when people ask me that, I think I'm more of a fatherhood than business. You know what I mean? I'm just excited to see him grow up, talk more, to be able to walk on his own. I'm excited for the office space, for the content studio more than the actual business. The business is kind of boring to me now, to be honest with you. I don't get excited about it anymore.
I get it.
Like I just started the insurance company and the hard money company, and I don't really make much on closing those deals, but I definitely get more excited about closing those than the bigger stuff. But I think, I don't really know. I don't know what's next. I'm just taking it day by day. Obviously, I want to scale the insurance and the hard money side up. But as far as like big plans, I think it's more just about having a tighter operation and growing the team.
Yep.
And just providing opportunities to keep them busy.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah.
One foot in front of the other. And it's funny because I can make the correlation there too, right? Like everything that I'm doing with software, I make so much more money wholesaling houses, flipping houses. Shit, I even make more money with my rentals than I do with software, right? But every time that I onboard somebody to the software, I'm like, dude, I am more fired up. Even when people sign up for a free account, I'm fired up. It's like, dude, this is really cool because I'm giving somebody the tools and resources they need to hopefully find their next deal. It's like, it's so cool.
I mean, that's just what you're passionate about, right? So now you're just kind of like feeling your passion. So I think it's that point where, because you're fucking burning money right now.
Oh, yeah.
And anyone who's a friend of Drew's, you should just download and, just support the app. Just to make this guy smile. It doesn't cost you
just to make me smile.
Just to make him smile. You know what I mean? But I like the product a lot. That's why I think I've been, low key, I've been commenting on all your videos and posts on TikTok, waiting for that fucking invite to come to like the podcast. And I was talking to Ryan, and I'm like, yo, bro, like, Drew, like, oh, that's my guy. I'm like, yeah, like, yo, man, low key, I've just been waiting for that invite. But, I think my ego and pride in a way right now, like, maybe I think I'm bigger than I am, or maybe I'm not. And then he's like, bro, he's not even like that, man. Like if you
Not
just
at
fucking
all.
hit him up, he'll just ask you. I'm like, yeah, I gotta get my ego, my ego checked out. And then I'm like, fuck it. So I just message you, and then that started the Zoom call for that thing, and then that turned into something else. So no, I'm really glad that I did that. You know what I mean? So
Dude, me too, absolutely. And that's a little embarrassing if you commented on any of my shit on TikTok, because I don't manage my TikTok at all. I don't know if I got comments on shit. Apparently, I don't know.
always the fire emoji.
But that's funny. I want to touch on that real quick, because I think that ties into sometimes benefits and sometimes drawbacks, our ego, right? Like our ego fucks us up in so many ways, right? Like, what do you think about that?
No, I agree, bro. That's kind of like what ruins a lot of careers, or makes them sometimes, to be able to have that, you know, to be able to just like hide it for that, like to lose the battle to win the war type of thing.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I do.
Because our ego technically is our identity, you know, who we are as people, but being able to control it is definitely something else. My cousin, he owns a quartz and granite countertop company, Elements Quartz and Granite, and he has a really big relationship with Post Brothers right now. He does all their countertops, like the Presidential Suite, the one on Broad in Washington right now, the Piazza. And how he did it was basically, he doesn't see it this way. I mean, not that, we never discussed it to that detail, but the way I looked at it was, whoever they were using before fucked up, and instead of thinking that he was like the man or too good, he just went and fixed it for them, right? He's like, he just threw away everything, and I'm just gonna get it done, and if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. And then that guy respected it, started a conversation. Actually, he was like, who the fuck, whose car is this? Whose company is this? Why are they here? Yada, yada, yada. And the guy's like, well, he actually just fixed one of our problems. And he's like, oh. And then it just went from there, right? And then you have a lot of situations with other people where, especially dealing with sellers.
Okay? Oh, yeah.
They say something that triggers you, and then you start arguing back. Like arguing with a seller is never a winning situation.
No, yeah, it deal's over.
Yeah.
Deal's over. It's dead.
Exactly.
It's dead.
So, yeah, I mean, for me, it just, I get being in wholesaling, like I've been wholesaling for so long that I got trained to be able to like see the other side of it, you know? Yeah.
Dude, I find where I need to check my own ego sometimes, and I don't think that I'm terrible, but whenever this happens, it's a reminder to me. Whenever I put an offer out on something and like an agent or a seller ask for proof of funds, that's when I got to check my ego. Because a part of me is like, bitch, I bought hundreds of houses. What do you mean proof of funds? My fucking name and word is my proof of funds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they don't know me. They don't know who I am, right? That's my ego getting in my own way. And it's like, calm down. All right, yeah, I'll provide whatever you want to see. That's cool, you know? But it's like that ego always exists, man, in all of us.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? You should just look at it this way. When they ask for it, just be, this is your way to flex on them. Like, yeah, this is what I have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm good. Don't worry. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But nah, that definitely, I think, yeah, even just, do you ever experience like road rage or no?
I'm not too bad, man. I'm not too bad. Probably because I was an asshole driver when I was younger. Now I'm just like, I'm kind of chill. I'm laid back, you know, but
Okay.
you?
No. I mean, I'll get upset in that exact moment, but I would just like get over it like 30 seconds later. But I feel like that's like kind of like the biggest, I just see it happen so many times.
Happens to everybody, yeah.
Buddies of mine, you put yourself in such a bad situation that you could like go to jail or whatever.
Yeah, man.
Over someone that you're not
Somebody
gonna.
cuts you off. You're never going to see
You're
him
never
again,
gonna see them
man.
again. Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, that's like, I feel like the craziest example of ego, like destroying people.
Yep. One of my buddies, every time, he's a real estate guy, owns a lot of rentals. Every time I'm on the phone with him and he's in the car, I hear him honking the horn, screaming at somebody. I'm like, bro, chill out, man. Like if you actually hit that person or they hit you, it's like you own a lot of assets, bro. Like you don't need that kind of exposure or liability. Chill out, you know? It's funny, man. It's funny. So if people want to reach out to you, where are they finding you?
My Instagram probably. I probably answer that more than my text sometimes.
Okay.
Mindset Michael on Instagram. And just reach out. I'm pretty active on there for anyone that is looking to have a conversation, and I think this year is going to be a lot of ramping up more, because I'm going to start, once I get the office space, that'll be the hub for me to do more education.
Dude, I love it.
Yeah.
And I want to plug that for you, right? Because like you mentioned, Ryan, who kind of connected us, like he was a mentee of yours, right? So you do education, you help people.
Yeah, I was, it started because I was at one of my projects, and it was a new construction, and it was the first one that it wasn't ground up. It was I took down the existing house, kept the foundation.
Got it.
But because it got classified as a new construction, I needed to get a new water meter pit for from that township in Warminster, and I didn't know that. And it took me 2 months to get it in, because I had to order it, and it takes a while. But my interest payments for the 2 months that I can't do nothing for is like fucking $8,000. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, fuck, man, I wish I could just pay someone, like, I don't care how much, like $3-4 grand, to just give me the whole play from start to finish on how to do this. I'm like, fuck it. I feel like a lot of people are probably going through the same issue as me. So why don't I try to charge that and do the same thing? So I did like a class, like a one-day thing where we went to the office, we spoke about hard money, on how to find deals, and then we did a tour of like maybe 8 or 9 different job sites, and then I kind of went through all the headaches and that I was going through for each of them, and I charged like $2 grand a person, and I'm surprised I had like 20 people show up.
Nice.
Yeah, and everyone that was like, it was a good experience for me, and then now I just made sure I kept in touch with everyone, because my thing is like, my pitch was, if I can't save you the $2 grand in your operation, then I will gladly give you this money back.
I love it.
And I'm able to save it just off their material purchases alone, right? So I know that for a fact. Or the lending, I told the lender that I brought in to discount the point for anyone that's looking to borrow. And then right now I have the house that got broken into. Mm-hmm. That's with a mentee.
Okay.
And we're flipping that together. I co-signed the loan for him, and I'm helping him with the purchase and the headaches. Ryan, I got like 2 or 3 deals that I'm funding for him, and we just, we've been going back and forth on a lot of different things. My guy Chan I have 3 deals that I'm funding for him this month, and and already 3 double closings from like the previous. So everyone that came, because I think the barrier to entry was so expensive, like they're taking it more seriously, that I'm doing something with every single one of them right now.
Dude, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so funny. Like, I've always been a big proponent of coaching, masterminds, mentors. Like, I've spent a ridiculous amount of money on myself, on education.
Yeah, I think you said like over $500,000 over like the course.
Probably not $500,000. I'm probably around 350. Who's counting? But probably in that range. But for most people that have never paid like $100 to a coach for anything, or like, are you out of your fucking mind? And it's like, well, no, I can kind of tie an ROI to the coaches and mentors that I've hired. Like there was one time, it was probably only 2.5, 3 years ago, that I was scaling up rapidly with my wholesale company. And we were at the highest revenue levels we were ever at. But I was dealing with some like, I don't know, just intercompany, let's call it like HR bullshit with like employees and just kind of like drama between different employees. And I was ready to rip my fucking hair out. And I hired a coach. I paid him like 20 grand, a little over 20 grand, that literally, I think I had 7, I think it was supposed to be 8, like 1-hour calls with him a week. And that's all that I wanted to solve. I wanted to figure out like basically how to not blow up my business, because I was ready to. And a lot of people would be like, wait a minute, you spent basically $1,500 an hour to talk to this guy? Absolutely I did. And I would do it again in a heartbeat, man, because it kept everything on track for me.
What was the most valuable advice that he gave you?
It's funny, but like the most valuable advice that he gave me was to follow my gut and intuition anyway. Like ultimately, I already knew what I had to do, and I kind of already knew the way that I needed to do everything. But I had that self-doubt because it was kind of like it seemed like a high-risk thing.
You just like added that piece to the puzzle for me, because I pay monthly right now to be part of this group, like of business people. Right? I think I'm the smallest guy in the group. And my mentor, he's David Lee. He owns, I don't know, maybe the biggest Ferrari collection. I'm not sure.
Shit.
I know he's up there though. mean, it's over.
That's gangster no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, and he's like, big on social media, awesome family man. Like, he's definitely a role model of mine very quickly just because of how he moved. And he'll give me advice that I give to other people. And I'm just like, it just hit different coming from you. And I realized what it was is self-doubt.
Yep, that's right.
Now that you mentioned it.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny.
That's crazy.
That's the thing is, like, I was actually just talking to the guy I was on the phone with when you pulled up. He was asking me about, like, the mastermind that I was in. I was in Collective Genius for a couple years. And he was like, man, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it is. But again, I can totally tell you how much revenue I've actually done as a result of the relationships that I built in groups like that and everything, So it's not a cost, it's an investment, like no two ways about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nah. So I mean, 350 to me sounds kind of crazy. How much, like, if you
that's probably over, 10 years.
Okay. So let's just say, and you don't have to say any names, right? Because that's not the purpose of the question, but if you had to redo, let's just say you had the budget of the 350 and you knew that, and you don't have the knowledge anymore. Out of that 350, how much of it would you redo or take?
All of it.
Oh, really? So every single one of those courses added some sort of value.
I was never big on courses. Like, probably out of all that money I've spent, maybe $5,000 was courses. I've never spent a lot of money on courses. It's always been masterminds and dedicated, like, coaches and mentors. Not really courses.
So was it more like consultation then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, the value that I get out of masterminds is just the connection with other people that are also on a similar path, maybe somewhere else in the country, and they're operating at a really, really high level too, but they have different strengths, different weaknesses, different backgrounds, and just like being able to connect with people at that level in a curated setting, because that's what my buddy was saying. He's like, but you're a really good networker. Like, you could go make those connections for free. It's like, I could, but that's a curated room of high level, high performing real estate dudes from around the country that I can just plug into, man. And that being said, like, I've also brought a lot of value to a lot of guys in groups like that as well. It's like, I've shared a lot of really successful, high ROI marketing things that I've done, different successes or failures that I had with training sales teams and so on and so forth. And being able to help other people is also really fulfilling me,
That's interesting, because part of the media company that we were talking about, it's more like consultation too, right? Like, for example, one of my clients, he had the cleaning company, but it was just carpet cleaning before. And then I told him, no, you're not a carpet cleaning company, you're a sanitation company, right? Go get your mold remediation license. I'll get you set up with insurance companies so that they call you first. In the summertime, you can do power washing. You know what I mean? Like, just like having him play a different niche, and then hands and stone contract and play, trying to get a more commercial contract. And more so as I want to be like the agent, right? Like, hey, I want to negotiate these deals for you, and then you just give me like 5% or 10% on top. Yeah. Leveraging my network pretty much. But I think ultimately, if I could, I would just want to do consultation for people and get paid. But like right now, I feel like I can't demand the price point that I want. Maybe because I'm going after the wrong people, but $1,500 an hour for a call, that'd be awesome. I'm doing it for free right now.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like, I've had so many people over the years that are like, I want you to mentor me.
How did you find, I'm sorry to cut you off, how did you find that coach for that? Like, did you just Google it or what?
No, so one of the coaches that I hired that I was talking about specifically, Eric Brewer, shout out, kept me from blowing up my business. Thank you. I met him through Collective Genius,
Okay.
So he was one of the coaches and mentors of that group. So it's like I was connected with him for a couple years and everything. And he's also a Pennsylvania guy. He runs a huge operation and everything. And I knew that's the thing to your question about like, what would I have redone and respent the money on? I thought where you were going to go with that is like, what was I going to say? Where did I think you were going with it? I thought you were going to be like, where would you try to be more efficient and like spend less money on and everything?
It was more so me framing the question without trying to offend anyone.
I get it.
What was worth it and what wasn't.
Yeah, no, I get it. And that's the thing. Like, one of my coaches also mentored a bunch of other people, obviously. Then, like, he was doing that for a while. And one of my buddies that was also, like, mentored by him was like, man, you know, I should not have done that. I shouldn't have spent that money. I didn't really see an improvement in what I was trying to accomplish, right? Because everybody hires coaches and mentors and masterminds for different reasons. Everybody has different goals. And he was like, do you think it was worth it? I was like, yeah, dude, absolutely. You know, it's like, but I think the reason that I was able to get value out of everything that I've ever done is because I'm really good at reading between the lines. Like, I have some people, like my old boss at the manufacturing company before I left and was doing the real estate stuff. Really intelligent dude, Italian guy, and I learned so much from him. Like, he's probably one of the best mentors in my life, and I never paid him a dime, right? But he also has a lot of flaws and drawbacks too. Like, he's a fucking chaotic mess. He makes me feel like organized, which is funny because I'm not. But some of the most valuable stuff I learned from him is also what not to do. Mm-hmm. Right? So it's like reading between the lines of not always just seeing what is right in front of you. It's being able to see, well, why did Michael make that decision to do that? You know? And maybe that wasn't a good decision. And maybe I now know that maybe I need to be a little bit more careful or cautious if I ever find myself in a situation like that, you know?
Yeah, no, you have a really good mindset too, like how you basically intake information, because I think how a lot of people look at it is like, hey, I paid this coach and the best advice he gave me was to trust myself.
Yeah. It's like, that's bullshit. I didn't get my money's worth out of that.
Right. But like on how you take it is, okay, now because he said that, I'm confident enough to make this decision, which made this happen, and that wouldn't have happened without the call. And you know what I mean? Like, now you can like actually compare like what was the effect of what he said, versus him, hey, $1,500, and he just told me trust myself. Like, bullshit. You know what I mean? But I'm the same way too, because I always like good or bad, I try to like get value from it no matter what. Mm-hmm. If it's bad, I'm like, fuck it. Like, when all the pipers, like, there's like 3 houses in one day, and I'm like, all right, I'm stressed out. I'm giving myself the day to like be depressed about it, maybe 2 or 3 days, and then after that, I'm like, fuck it. This is God's test to see if I'm ready for more.
That's right.
And then I just like, you know, got all the insurance stuff taken care of, which gave me breathing room. That's the thing. I never utilized insurance for my rehab as much as I should.
What do you mean?
Like, all right, for example, the house that got broken into yesterday, I didn't even think to call insurance for that, to replace all the plumbing.
I wouldn't have thought that either.
Right,
honestly.
but you can though. That's what it's for. Right?
That is true. That sounds so basic, but yeah, you're right.
Right. My partner that running the insurance business, she's like, why don't you just start to claim? Like, I'll start to claim on it. I'm like, wait, what? Like, oh shit. Like, why did I never think of that? I lost so much money by not going through insurance because I just took the L on it. I just bought insurance because I needed to buy it.
Because I have to. Yeah.
Right. But now it's like, now that I'm like more learning the business, I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, you'll buy the insurance, and even if you start to claim, because it's through the LLC, your premium doesn't go up. You get what I mean?
Sense. Yeah.
So why would you not use insurance at this point? You know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
so funny, dude.
Yeah.
I never even thought about that.
But that's part of the education thing that I want to push out. You know what I mean? Low key funneling business to my insurance company, but it's a win-win for everyone, because now, like, at least you're not buying insurance. Insurance is not sexy to buy. It's not fun. No one wants to buy it, right?
Yeah, we buy it because we have to. Right. Yeah.
But now, if I can make it a little bit better by, you're buying insurance from Michael Ho, who does this and does that, and now I can, like, have other values that I can give outside of the insurance stuff. But the insurance is how we start the conversation, type of thing. So that's how I want to I guess, structure it.
Dude, I love that. I love that. So what kind of insurance is it? Like just fix and flip, like bridge stuff, or long-term rentals?
Everything, bro. Like it's starting with business, home, auto, health, life.
Okay.
Everything.
The whole nine.
We're a broker at the end of the day. But for me, it's like, because this isn't I'm already selling it for free though. Whenever my client buys something, I just get the insurance for them.
Yep.
So now it's like, why the fuck wouldn't I do it myself?
Right.
And, yeah, so once that started and I'm learning more about the industry, I'm like, yo, you're really not making that much money, but it's a value add, right? So that's my whole thing of, I want to be able to provide more than I can get. And for me to be able to get you insurance easily, it's no problem. And guess what? If I try to call my insurance agent right now, I probably wouldn't even be able to get them on the phone. Versus if they try to call like B, she'll answer right away. We'll be more easily reachable.
Yep.
More education involved. Just more of a non-transactional transaction, so to say. Yeah.
I love that, dude. Let me ask you a question about focus. What is your relationship with focus? Because I know a lot of guys that have,
focus?
10, yeah, exactly, right? Like 10 different businesses, and they make a lot of money, and they're able to be successful with that. And then I know other guys where they're like, no, I can only focus on one business, because if I focus on 3 things, they'll all fall apart. And it seems like you got a lot of vertical integrations.
Yeah, I'm never going to start another business or flip moving forward without a partner involved.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, I don't want to do it myself anymore at all, which is why we started a conversation with your tech company.
Yep.
Because I want to, all right, cool. I just want to be able to, that's why I went back to I just want to consult, right? I feel like I have a vision for things, and I understand people, and I understand how people work, and I can just kind of be the sales guy to put the pieces to the puzzle together. Same thing with the insurance. I'm not going to fucking write the policies up or send it. No, I'm just going to bring it in. And the same people that I'm bringing into insurance, I'm going to bring it into the material shop, the fucking lending. It's just networking at the end of the day. Yeah. Making money off my network. Same thing with the ice cream thing that I was just talking about earlier, and consulting. I just want to be able to do it that way. So I think the focus is more so my brand, right? Which kind of encompasses everything.
That makes sense.
Right. If I can just market myself as what I do and how I do things, and how I move, then eventually any people that I come across, I'm going to be able to service you in some way or another. And it's going to be through group chatting you with my guy that runs the show. But when people do it to me, sometimes I feel like they just leave me hanging, and they're just like brokering it, and they don't keep in touch.
Right.
Which is why I make sure that I'm like, make sure you're talking to group chat. Don't start a thread without me. I want to be able to stay on top of everything and do it from there. But then that's also why I want to make sure my partners that I operate with are operating at the standards where they don't even want to talk to me anymore. They just want to talk to them.
Yeah, they just want to run it. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So that's how I want to do things. As far as scale goes, I know what you're talking about, because my mentor tells me this all the time too, ROI wise, right? If I'm making X amount an hour in the development world, and I'm making X amount an hour in the marketing thing, and it's like not even comparable, why would I ever spend that hour doing this? And it's just out of passion. It's like passion projects, right?
I totally understand.
It's not even for money anymore. It's something that makes me happy, and I mean, I know you understand.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the development side is definitely a little bit more on the, I don't want to say autopilot, but very minimal involvement now outside of, I guess, design and just every single aspect of that is almost ran by somewhat of a partner too. Whether it's the GC or the tile people, put them in the same together, the cabinet and countertop plug in the same conversation. They can communicate without me now.
Yep.
And because of that, it's like, once I kind of write down exactly what I want, all the tools are there for you to make decisions without me. You know what I mean?
I totally understand. Yeah. Totally understand. And I want to highlight something that you said there is a lot of the things that you're doing now are in some way, shape, or form a passion project, right? And it's the same thing with me with the software, right? But I know a lot of people, when they're just getting their feet wet, they're just getting started, whether it's wholesaling, flipping, landlord, whatever, and they'll see a guy like you and they're like, well, he does a lot of different things, so I should do a lot of different things. And that's like the metaphorical real estate agent that gets her insurance license the same year, that starts selling cars on the side the same year. I do think a level of focus is fucking required to get to a level of success where you have the ability to diversify and be like, I'm okay not making maximum amount of money. Because if you just start and you're just say in the first 3 to 5 years of your business, whatever it is you do, and you're trying to do 12 other things, you're going to fall flat on your face on all of them.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
100%. 100%. You don't have your foundation built yet.
That's right.
It's back to that, like what your cash flow is. Once you have a cash flow that you can play with, then you can start.
Yeah, I can afford to burn money.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because also like a mindset thing too. If you're not making enough to sustain your lifestyle, then you're in like a survival mode mindset where it's probably how we think when we're like our back is against the wall. We're just like laser focused on how to fix the problem. Mm-hmm. But they're living every day like that. And then that can help people make really bad decisions sometimes, you know?
Absolutely.
So if they can't see the vision board that clear, and then, yeah, so anyone that's like starting business, I think they need to, they're going to make the mistake that they're going to make. I think they should never do it alone. Like if I had to restart all my real estate stuff and start at ground zero, knowing that I can get to this point, I would immediately start working with other people. Like I'd probably try to work for you. And then you would see how dedicated I am to this. Yep. And then now you're going to be like, all right, well, I trust Mike and I know he can get it done. Let me give you more shit to do.
Yep.
You get what I mean?
I totally
and
understand.
It's going to get to the point where you can't do it without me anymore because I'm such a large part of your shit that the minute I want to think about leaving or I have that conversation with you, like, no, you know what? Let's just treat this as a partnership. And then from
Absolutely.
there.
Dude, I fully agree. I love that. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way to pull everything together and land the plane. Man, so much we talked about. And I feel like so many more avenues that we could go down.
This is part one. This is part one of our...
This is part one of a series, right? Of a series.
Yeah.
I love it, man. You're an inspiration. I am super grateful that we got connected and everything. Geller, shout out to you, buddy. I'm grateful to have you in the studio with me today, and sharing some wisdom with other people. I appreciate it. Again, the Instagram is
Mindset Michael.
Mindset Michael.
Yeah.
Reach out, hit him up. It's a wealth of information. Glad to say I have you as a friend, buddy.
All right, cool. Yeah, for sure.
Thanks,
let's go up there and talk about the other stuff.
Let's do it. That's the reason that I love the podcast so much. It's like I kind of fell off for like the last 3 months because I've been busy. I think I'm on like 45 episodes or something though.
Oh, shit, that's a lot though.
Yeah, and it's like just sitting down talking to people that I like, that are doing something either similar or some form of parallel, building the relationships. That's worth its weight in gold anyway. Then just being able to share that content with other people, and sometimes it brings value to them. It helps them do their next deal or make a connection to a lender or whatever. That's so freaking cool,
Yeah. I think the value is more like, I think a lot of people, or even me originally, was for brand building, but I'm like aiming for viral clips, right? Like I want to make it, that's kind of like what we see, like what I see on TikTok at least.
Yeah. Yep.
And I realized that it's not that easy just because of the niche demographic that I guess we have right now.
In real estate, it's so hard, man.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Yeah. We're not talking about anything that's trending or something that everyone can relate to. So it's only like specific, really investors, more to say, or people that are trying to learn to invest that would pay attention to it. So it wasn't the reaction that I wanted, but value-wise, after the fact, it always led to some form of business getting done somewhere along the line. So I'm like, all right, for me, it doesn't matter. It's just more about if one person reaches out, like, hey, yo, I'm like, all right, cool.
Dude, that's the coolest thing,
Yeah.
right? That's the coolest thing. And it's like, for me, like with everything that's here today, right? When I first started my podcast, dude, I had 2 smartphones set up as the video cameras. Yeah. I still had the microphone set up and everything, but it was like real low budget, low quality stuff, And I probably kept that for, 15, 20 episodes or something. Then I had a guy, because I wasn't able to like tie an ROI to it. You know what I mean? And then I had a guy that reached out to me on Facebook. He's like, yo, I've been watching your stuff on YouTube. I watch your podcast. I got this deal. I don't know what to do with it. Ended up, making 40 something thousand bucks on that deal. And I was like, all right, now I can tie a real ROI to the podcast. Let me spend some money on professional equipment and everything, you know?
But I feel like that's how you should start though.
I think it's a logical approach to anything, right? Start like on a shoestring budget. Like I'm sure you've had similar experiences where you see guys, and maybe you've done it yourself. I know I've done it too. It's like you spend a bunch of money on something when it's not even proven out first, right? Like get to the fucking revenue stage first and then decide where you want to spend money in it. Don't spend money on something first.
That's how you really know if someone really wants to do it or not. Because I'm kind of like that type of person, right? Like for me, it's like, if I, even for like my office space right now, I'm like, before I even want to set foot in it, I need to deck it out.
Yep.
But that's not the purpose of the office. It's to like, get work done and save money and make money.
Yep.
But I'm like, I still have that in me.
Yep.
Luckily I can support it, but
exactly.
for like the podcast thing, like when I first started, I bought like 3 tripods, I bought 3 expensive cameras, and I ended up gifting it to my actual camera guy now. But like, if you're like really trying to do it and you have iPhone set up, then you're already cranking out 45 episodes, like that's consistent.
Hell
like
yeah.
that. And now that you tied to ROI, this makes sense, the setup makes sense, so
Yep.
it's more official now,
Absolutely, man.